First things first, what is this abomination that I'm looking at? This is not Kyoragen, according to the anime nor the fandom. We already have people color swapping the literal cover of the volume, because that's how much they want to see emo Kiora. Which color scheme do you prefer most for this character? Because to be honest, this one kinda just looks like a rip-off Itoshi Rin brother. Anyways, in today's video, we'll be going over the official release of Blue Lock's 254th chapter, titled My Model, the World's Model. If you enjoy my content and would like to support your boy, please be sure and check that you subscribe to the channel, comment below your thoughts, and even check out my community Discord down below. With that being that, let's get right into today's chapter. The intro text to start today's chapter off says, PXG draws first blood, but the match is far from over. To contain Shidou, Noah tweaks Bastard's formation and assigns Kunigami to man marc Shidou. Now it's time to see how Bastard Munich will strike back. The first thing we see here is Isagi, Kunigami, and Hiyori all walking back onto the field together after Noah's talk. We see the new Bastard Munich formation here too, which now has Kaiser as their sole striker like before. Kunigami has been moved back into the midfield right in between Ryusei and Kiora, making this the perfect chance for them to link up. Speaking of Ryusei, he screams out encouraging words to his team, saying that they're only down one and will soon equalize the game. Kagamaru pumps his fist up and assures them he'll stop the next one, and even Kyoragen is shown to be fired up. Somehow they're already sweating though after 5 minutes into this game, so it must be truly taxing for them to try and stop PXG's offense. The perspective then switches over to Tokimitsu and Nanase, who both seem to be frustrated despite being in the lead. Tokimitsu is anxiously scratching his head, because while Shidou may be on their team, his goal doesn't actually have any benefit to them. The only way for them to raise their ranking and survive is to do everything they can to help Itoshi Rin score instead of Shidou. They must make Rin the one and only hero of this match, or else they're screwed, because if Rin fails, they fail. We also get to see Charles here licking his lips and throwing up a winking demon emoji, so if any of you speak emoji, please help me translate. Anyways, we then get a page here split between the 4 aces of both teams, as the intensity is cranking up even higher. Itoshi Rin tells Shidou to get out of the way, causing Isagi and Kaiser to speak up as well, hopping on Shidou's head with him. Our zesty goat here just smiles though and calls them all jealous, because after all, he was the first one to bag a goal in this match. The game then once again restarts with Kaiser kicking the ball off to Ness, while assuring Shidou that he will burn him into ash. Shidou once again just smiles even in the face of hate, because this attention is exactly what he craves. Alexis Ness then continues up the field while passing the ball off to Grim, and Isagi's inner monologue can be seen here, as he's thinking about recreating it. As we see him sprinting upfield, all Isagi can think about is recreating he and Hiyori's goal from the last game. The theory and logic behind entering the best performance state does make sense to him, however it's just not that easy. In order to enter this state, Isagi must predict what everyone else on the field is doing. He contrasts his style to Shidou, who is someone who enters flow when playing for himself and achieving his own ecstasy. Isagi enters this state of focus when he understands the situation around him, which seems to lead him to a realization of sorts. The color then changes on this panel and we see him almost get stunned for a minute as sweat drops down his face. As we see Kaiser approaching Itoshi Rin, Isagi realizes that although everyone is striving to recreate the perfect situation for them to win, each individual's thought process and triggers are different. Everyone has a different way to enter their top performance state, which we've already known as a reader since around the U20 arc. This ties a lot into protagonism, the hunger behind a striker's ego, and also just the personality of our cast. With this newfound information in mind, Isagi believes you can divide top performances into 2 types of people. Type 1 is compared to people like Shidou or Ryusei, who is someone that ignores any outside info when playing to his peak. These players, like our demon, focus purely on achieving their own wants and desires, which is all that controls their play. Type 2, however, Isagi uses himself as the example, being someone who analyzes and observes the field. Using the accounted for information, these players can then manipulate the world's trigger points to their advantage. We then get a little chibi demonstration here to better explain, as he names these types holistic and individualistic egos. A person with a holistic ego wants people to watch how they achieved a goal, while an individualistic person would want people to focus on them personally when they score. It's not like one ego type is better than the other, because it's all just dependent on your personality type. We then get some more chibi charts to help explain better, with the first one being on the individualistic ego type. They are people who prioritize maximizing their own self-worth by prioritizing whatever they find interesting or important. Shidou is the best example because he believes soccer to be his way of life, so obviously having fun and doing his own thing will result in an easier time entering flow. A holistic ego, on the other hand, prioritizes and maximizes one's standing within society. They achieve their maximum potential through prioritizing winning awards and achievements that the outside world deems important. They put rankings, results, and glory above all, which allows them to easily enter flow when these are at stake. He begins to list some of the blue lockers we know and groups them into 2 ego types. On the holistic side, Isagi, Karasu, Hiyori, and Reo are all easily listed within this column. As for impulsive individualistic types, Shidou, Bachira, Barou, Nagi, and Zantetsu are the people who come to mind for him. A fun little question here. Let's have everyone go down in the comments to let me know what type you are personally. Tapping into his metavision, Isagi begins to wonder about other players too, such as Kunigami and Charles. He even believes Kaiser to more than likely fall into the holistic side of things, as he's someone obsessed with trophies and results. Finally, the last person he thinks about is obviously itoshi Rin, however he just can't figure him out yet. He needs to input more data during this match to better understand this concept and utilize it to his advantage. We get an amazing panel here of him running into a metavision tunnel while thinking about all he needs to do to reach his top performance. He wants to figure out everyone's ego types while also inputting everything happening on the field, which hopefully he has the stamina for now after his training break. I still wonder if we'll see the flashbacks of what he unlocked during that time. Anyways, the chapter then cuts over to Alexis Ness, who's been slide tackled by the speedsters on Tetsu. As he's falling down, it seems like Ness kind of winces in pain here, making me wonder if he could possibly be injured. We could see Corona maybe being subbed back in, truly leading to Kaiser being the naked emperor. The ball ends up actually flying in the direction of Tokimitsu, however Hiyori comes flying through the air while trapping the ball. He even calls on Tetsu a moron for losing focus here, so I guess he's picking up on Isagi's lingo too. Taking a stance which looks like he could possibly be passing from, Hiyori thanks Zantetsu for the meal, as everyone's eyes are on him. Zantetsu realizes that Hiyori was waiting for Ness to lose the ball all along, as he can see Isagi looking back while sprinting into place. While Hiyori's metavision eyes are glowing now too, he knows that if they're going to reproduce such a goal, then he cannot just rely on Isagi for the finisher. He too needs to personally envision himself as the world's best player, to then cross it with whoever best fits the context of the play. After all that yapping and tough posing, Hiyori doesn't even manage to get the ball out from his feet. The brat Charles managed to sneak around from behind him and snag possession, while telling Hiyori that he's not so bad. He then goes on to poke his cheek and while smirking his face, recognizing that Hiyori's had metavision just like he and Isagi. I'm personally making a scene over this because nobody's poking my cheek like I'm their Pookie Bear, but that's just me. As Charles then begins to sprint away, all Hiyori can do is just watch in confusion and terror. He can't fathom how Charles knew he was going to pick the loose ball. However, he too makes the realization about Charles. He can use metavision just like them, because it's not such an uncommon ability at this level of play now. Everybody is looking worried due to Charles now having possession, and Hiyori now knows that before he can recreate any goals with anyone, he's going to have to take down Charles Chevalier. We then see Charles pass off the ball despite Raichi's best efforts, and it looks like Shidou is once again his target. This is just left in the dust, as Shidou once again screams out to Charles, complimenting his terrific play. It's been a while. As we see Blacked Out Eye emerge from behind Shidou, Kunigami Rensuke comes sprinting in out of nowhere. Placing his right arm on Shidou's chest to hold him off, he screams out to the explosive demon while going off the rails. Shidou is just left confused here as he asks who Kunigami even is, which causes the Dark Horse to grit his teeth and say this to remind him, "I'm the worthless loser hero who got his life destroyed because of you." While saying this, we see him leap into the air and deflect his pass away with his head, more than likely preventing another chemical reaction goal from Shidou and Charles. We also see Yuri and him have a duo panel in the bottom left, as both of them say that their top performance will come from them surpassing their rival on this field. In this 10 out of 10 beautifully cooked panel, Yuri stares down Charles and Kunigami stares down Shidou, as both of them want to defeat these opponents. It's interesting though that we see Kunigami and Yuri having some parallel panels here back to back, because they've never really linked up or interacted much. Last chapter 2 seemed to portray Isagi, Kunigami, and Hiyori as some sort of dynamic trio, so maybe we'll see these three link up for a super goal for the hero. Anyways, with that being the end of today's chapter, the outro text here says, "The key to victory lies in our hands. Only by winning your matchups can you become the hero leading your team to victory." Now sadly, Blue Lock will be on break next week and we don't seem to have next chapter's title, so let me know down in the comments what you're expecting to happen. We don't really know if the ball went out of bounds or someone will recover it, but either way I'm expecting Bastard München to 100% have possession for the flow of things. If you want to stay entertained in the next 2 weeks while Blue Lock is on break, feel free to subscribe to my channel, comment below your thoughts, and even check out my community Discord in the description below if you'd like to interact with me. Thank you all so much for tuning in and have an amazing day.